This is the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. 3 days to your most profitable year ever. Day 1.
Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast on SelenaKnight.com. Stay ahead of the competition by opening your doors to business experts so you can learn, grow, and be inspired. Passionate about bringing business strategies to independent retailers, please welcome your host, Selena Knight.
Hey there, and welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. I'm Selena Knight, the retail strategist, and we are talking all about how to make this your most profitable year ever. It is my birthday today. It's the 2nd of January. So I have to admit that I didn't do so well in terms of organizing myself for podcasts over the Christmas break. I knew I was going to take a couple of weeks off, and I actually had them all planned out. I just never quite got around to recording them. And you know that if you listen to the last couple of episodes, I recorded one on Boxing Day, and now I'm recording one on my birthday. So I knew that I wanted to talk to you about how you can plan out a fantastic year. And it does take planning. It does take effort. So I was sitting on New Year's Eve just thinking, how can I help people have their most profitable year? Because not everybody can afford to work with me. Not everybody can afford to do one of my courses. So I just want to give them something for free that will help them boost their income. Take the stress off, just make life that little bit easier and have a little bit more breathing space. And you may be able to hear in the background, it is so steamy hot today here in Australia. And if you can hear a humming noise in the background, they are cicadas, and they come out at summer, and they are so loud that in our backyard, it sometimes feels like you need to wear earplugs. I'm sure if they were industrial machinery, you would be required to wear earplugs around them. And despite the fact that my microphone sits in a soundproof box, I can hear those little animals, and they're just little. They're probably an inch long, and they are so noisy. So I do apologize in advance. If you're hearing a hum in the background, it is not you. It is the cicadas of Sydney making themselves known. Really interesting if you want to know about them. They dig in the ground for like 7 years, and then they come out again. And this year they're all black. Last year they were green. So obviously different species. Anyway, cicadas aside, I decided that I'd gone through a whole bunch of resources that I'd created a couple of years ago. And one of them was this 3 days to creating a profitable year. And so I pulled it out and I thought, actually, that's really good. Why did I not ever do anything with that? I kind of gave it to a couple of people, gave it to some clients to use. And so I thought, I'm going to give this away. I'm just going to give it to people so that they can have a profitable year. And then I thought, you know what would be even better is if I could do it live, if I could walk people through. So I thought, I'm going to jump on a Facebook Live, walk people through it, tell them some of my examples, and then they can grab the action plan. So over 3 days, so today is actually day 1, tomorrow I'll record day 2, and the following day I'm going to record day 3, and you're going to get them over the next couple of weeks. So today you get day 1, next week you'll get day 2, and the following week you will get day 3. But if you are one of those people who just likes to plow on through, then if you head over to SelenaKnight.com/3 days, the number 3 days, all one word, you can grab all the videos and the workbook, the action plan workbook on that page. You don't have to wait until next week. So I will let you know that the next section is completely unscripted. I just had a few notes that I'd written from a couple of years ago when I put this together, and I even went and created a little slide deck. I thought it would be great to share. But here's one of the things I learned. You can only share your screen on Facebook Live inside of a Facebook group, which I've done in the past with my groups. So I thought when I hopped on my page, it would work there too, but it didn't. So I had to just completely get in front of the video and just talk away, which was fine. But of course, I'd spent probably 45 minutes putting together this little slide deck. I'm going to pop that into the action plan. I'll pop it somewhere in the action plan. So if you wanted to look at it, you can have a look at it as well. But this is completely unscripted because I want to give back. I want to give you the presents for my 42nd birthday. I want you to have a profitable year because I'm really grateful. I have had an amazing life. It hasn't always been fantastic, but it is the highs and the lows that bring us to where we are right now. And right now, I'm extremely grateful for what I have in my life and for who I have in my life. So this is me giving back. This is me helping you to move your business to the next level and hopefully move your life to the next level. And in the next little section, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how my word for the year is refine. And I already broke that on day 2 because none of what I'm showing you here is refined. I literally just plopped it together, got on a video and sent it out. And that is going to change. And it was a bit of a wake-up call because this is what I would normally do. I go, wow, I need to get that out. And I work really hard and I push it out. And I have to admit, I only put about 45 minutes into this one. So not such a big deal in terms of, sometimes I'll spend days and I'll put my team on it for days or even weeks. But that is changing in 2018. My word for the year is refine, because refining shouldn't be as stressful as creation. And last year for me was all about creation. This year, I'm going to smooth out my customer experience. I'm going to refine some courses. I'm going to update them, make them better, and just have a much easier life in 2018. Stop the stress. Stop the frenicity. Is that a word? The franticness? I have a feeling that frenicity is a word, but I'm just going to go with stop the franticness, the scrambling, the struggling, the pushing, and just take it a little bit easier. And that is why the next bit isn't as polished potentially as what you would normally expect, because I did just jump in front of the camera to put it out there. I hope you enjoy it. If you want to grab that workbook, the action plans, you can grab them over at selinaknight.com/3 days. That's the number 3 and days, selinaknight.com/3 days. Okay, so let's jump into day 1 of creating your most profitable year ever.
Hey there, Happy New Year. Today is actually my birthday. And if you are wondering what is going on, you'll know that I hopped on a little bit ago, about half an hour ago, and I put together this little slide deck to help you with your 3 days to your most profitable year ever. Unfortunately, the technology didn't work for me and I couldn't get my screen to share, and I was thinking it should just work. I've done this before. Anyway, I ended up just shutting my whole computer down, coming back, and sure enough, the little button was there to share my screen. And I told you that my word for the year was refine. And I feel like this is me refining it. I'm going to come back. I'm going to do the whole thing all over again so that it's a little bit more professional. It makes a little bit more sense. And it is me refining this. And you know what? The great thing about this is once I do it, I can now use it in the future. I can go and send it out to people on my list if they haven't had a chance to see this. I can use it as a lead magnet to get more people in. I can use it in lots of places. So this is me refining what I already did this morning. And my husband's probably thinking, geez, you've been down there for a long time. But you know what? I'm going to wrap this up in about 25 minutes. And I want this to be much better. So as I said, Happy New Year. Welcome. Today is my birthday. And I wanted to give something back. So I'd gone through, just before Christmas, I'd gone through all of the stuff that I'd ever created, looking to see what we could use this year, what we had to get rid of. And I found this little 3-day, 3-session course that I'd made, and it was really good. And I hadn't ever really promoted it. I just kind of gave it away to some customers, and I don't know, it just was one of those things that you create that sometimes just falls by the wayside. But when I pulled it out, I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm going to put it together and give it to you guys as a birthday present. So that is exactly what I have done. And I'm going to put this into almost like a little mini training course for you. So over the next couple of days, you can plan out your profitable year. Okay, so if you are watching, you're here because you want to move your business forward. You want this to be the year that your business grows. You're not sure what you actually need to do to get there. You know that you have potential, but what are the next steps you need to do to get there? And you may be feeling a little bit stuck because you know that you need some fresh ideas, some new strategies. You just need maybe just to kick up the butt to move yourself forward. And hopefully you aren't at this stage, but if you're tired of running that treadmill every single day that just feels like you can't keep up and you want a better way, then that's exactly what this is going to help you do. Put a little bit of time aside, 35 minutes, 45 minutes after you finish watching this, and you can start planning your most profitable year ever. So who is this action plan for? Well, it's for people who sell products, whether you've got a shop front, whether you're online, a market stall, whether you're selling Etsy, but you sell physical products and you want your business to grow. You're open to new ideas. You're open to new strategies. You want to overcome the fear that, stops you from achieving success. And you're committed. You want this business to succeed. You're ready to put in the time, the money, and the effort it takes to move your business to the next level. And it's not for you if you sell services or you're a coach or an author or a professional, service professional, or if you freak out at the idea of change. You prefer the tried and true, or you don't like to embrace new ideas. And you know what? If you're not committed, this is not for you either. You're going to have to spend a little bit of time to make yourself profitable. So if you just want to continue to sell stuff, maybe with the hopes that you'll make some more money or you want to get rich quick answer, this is not for you because there are no get rich quick answers. So I'm going to cover today, day one. And as I said, I've mapped this out over 3 days. And day one is about cash flow, day 2 is about construction, and day 3 is about core. So in 3 days, you'll be able to map out a complete plan on how you can fine tune your business. So day 1, as I said, we'll be talking about money and what it should look like in your upcoming year. It will help you set revenue goals, and I'll also help you define some ways that you can create financial growth in your business. Day 2 is about construction, and this is where your business is going to be heading in the next year and making sure that you're organized. You'll get a calendar that'll show you where you're heading, and also I'll give you some ideas on how to increase your customer loyalty and customer engagement, and delegating. Because once you've got it all mapped out, you're going to have to start giving other people some work to do. And in day 3, it's about core. It's about setting up your business to succeed by identifying different areas that need to be fine-tuned in your business so you don't overlook them. You don't just get stuck in this big picture, because the attention to detail, which is something that I miss quite a lot, the attention to detail is what's needed to actually make your business a success. Okay, so that's what we're going to cover. What I find the big problem is that no one actually teaches you how to run an independent retail business. I had a business degree. Nobody showed me anything. The stuff I learned, apart from accounting and maybe a little bit of marketing, never going to be used in an independent retail business. And what I've also found is that you're so tied up in running the retail business that you don't actually know what you need to do in order to grow. You're so caught up in that treadmill. You know you need to do something, but you're not quite sure what. But worst of all, you know that your business has potential. Maybe you are seeing growth, but you want it to be more profitable. You want it to grow. You want to have more money in the business. So if you want that more money and you've been trying lots of things and nothing seems to stick, this is how my 3 days to your most profitable year ever is going to help you. Because if you don't have a plan, you end up burnt out. You end up apathetic. You just can't be bothered. You get cranky. You doubt yourself and you end up wasting money. The biggest thing is you end up wasting money. Hands up who has done that, because I know that I am one of them. I see people all the time saying things like, I just spent money on advertising because I knew that I had to spend money on advertising, but I wasn't actually planning, what I was going to be doing. So, that is when you have problems, when you're just spending money for the sake of spending money. Don't want you to be doing that. Because I want you to think about what your business would be like and what your life would be like if you could actually increase your sales, if you could smooth out your cash flow, and if you could get more customers without actually burning out. Now, you may or may not know, depending on how long you've been following me, that this year was a bit of a revelation for me. I was having problems. I was really struggling to put a sentence together. I was tired all the time. I was having to take naps every day. And that was because, as I found out, I had stage 2 kidney failure, along with a whole bunch of other things. Now, it was a wake-up call. Now, it can be completely managed. I take some supplements. I look after myself. But one of the biggest things I have to do is not operate on stress. And so I know that this is a problem that I have. I have spent the last decade building and pushing and growing my stores. So I created the stores, and then I grew them, and I built them to a point. We won loads of awards, and then I ended up selling it because I processed myself out of the business. And I discovered that I wanted to help people make more money in their businesses. But as a result, I'm still pushing myself. I'm not reformed yet. As I say this, I have a deadline to write some articles, which I haven't quite finished yet. And I always leave it to the last minute. And that puts this feeling of stress on me. And if you are one of those people, we need to get away from that, because that constant living under a bubble of stress is not good for you. And it's, I can attest to the fact it is not good for your health. Because in the beginning, I had no one to show me how to grow my store. I made so many mistakes. You just have to put it past you and appreciate that every mistake you made, there was a lesson that could be learned. I knew I discovered I didn't have the right products all the time. Sometimes I had the right products, but I also didn't know how to market my business. And I would find that, my business was flush with cash one moment and then it was broke the next. And I hated it when the bills came in, and I was stressed a lot. And 10 years later, I am suffering because of it. I wanted to get off that roller coaster. So I set about learning everything I could in order to grow my business, increase my sales, my profits, and my customers, and actually still love my store and keep focused on the whole why that I created it. That can be really difficult to continue on with, to keep that why going when you are just struggling under, debt and, staffing stresses and products not turning up, all those kinds of things. So I knew that I wanted to get off that. And, it took me a while, and it did. And the bottom line was I spent tens of thousands of dollars working with some of the best coaches in Australia. I still, to this day, attend conferences. I consume so much content in order to know that I can know that the information I'm giving you is fantastic, and that I am running my business because I've taken my head out of the sand. As I said, I'm not quite reformed. I'm always a work in progress. As I say this, there's an email from my accountant asking me to go through my suspense items. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but the fact is I have a plan. And my plan is to make my life a lot easier and make more money and help a lot of people in the process. As I said, I grew that store. We won loads of awards, and I ended up going on to sell it. But right, that unless you actually take some action, your business is not going to grow. Your business is not going to be profitable. Waking up and doing the same thing every day is not going to give you more money. It's not going to get you more customers, and it's not going to give you that freedom that you want. So here's day one, the reality check. How much money are you actually making? And how many sales do you need to actually make a change? Before we actually even jump into session one, I want to just say that I love this thing about creating a word, and I think we're going to go through that. I made this little slide deck last night, so I have to admit this is not the most polished and professional. I spent about half an hour just putting this together. So in day one is always a reality check, and I call it the profit health check. How much money are you making? How many sales do you need to make to affect change? Have you actually worked it out, or do you just hope that things are going to get better? And the next thing I always ask my clients is, do you actually have a realistic plan of what your cash flow is going to look like? Because the answer is usually no. And in a lot of cases, people don't even have a point of sale. They don't have any books for us to look over. And I really struggle to come up with a fantastic plan for people if I can't even see how much money they're making, to see where their money's coming from and where it's going to. So if you don't even have that yet, if you don't have a way of knowing where your money's coming in and coming out, a free option that you can use is called Wave Apps. And it doesn't necessarily integrate with your point of sale and your website. But even if you just need something basic, that is free. We use it for our holiday house. It's great. But if you need something that integrates, look at something like Xero. that can actually tell you where you're starting and where your money is, where you're going, and where it's going to. Because if you don't have these, then your business is probably not going to end up being as profitable as you want it to be. Okay, so what we're going to talk about in your 3 days to your most profitable year. Well, day one, as I said, is all about cash. We're going to talk about money and how to create some financial growth in your business. Day two is about construction, so mapping out how you're going to do it. And day three is about core, setting up your business to succeed by identifying the different areas that need to be fine-tuned in your business. So today we're talking about day one, and I call it your profit health check. Now, before we get started, I always love to start with a word to describe how I want my upcoming year to be. And I've put together an action plan for you. You can grab that. I'll pop the link into the notes right now. You can grab that and download it and work through how this is going to be your best year. You can have a plan to make this your best year ever. The fact is, if you don't have a plan, you probably aren't going to make money. You might fluke it for a while, but at some point you are going to need to have a plan in order to be profitable. Happens all the time. Okay, so why do I ask you to come up with a word? Well, my word for this year is refine. And the reason for that is because I have spent the last 10 years having words like growth, expansion, go big. I had the phrase go big one year. And all those words are pushing words, and maybe they are great words for you. Maybe they are the perfect words for you. But I can tell you that 10 years of those pushing words takes a toll. So I know that this year I have to work smarter. You know that old adage, work smarter, not harder. So my word for the year is refine. I am going to spend the next 12 months refining what I have, refining what I sell, refining my message, refining my customers. And that will take work, but it's not pushing. So you have to think about, do you have in you for a whole year of hustle? I really don't like that word hustle, because for the last 10 years I've hustled and it's taken its toll. My health is not fantastic, but you can do that for a short period of time. But to me, the word hustle just means working for the sake of working, because people get caught up in this idea of busy work. Rather, it just kind of means you have to be always moving. Well, I can tell you that 10 years of always moving gets you to the point where you think, actually, I just kind of want to pare it back. I just want to know what I want to offer, whether it's what products in your store. Maybe you want to refine your customer, because dealing with these customers that come in and just want the cheapest stuff and they always return things, that is hard work and it is draining. So I would love for you to share in the comments what your word is for the year. And is it going to be a big growth, expansion, push word, or is it going to be a paring back minimalist word, minimizing, refining, streamlining, processing, something along those lines? So share it with me, because I would love to hear what your word is. But mine is refining. So how does that word actually have to relate to cash flow? Well, I have to say that when you have a word, you realize that the things you do need to relate to that. So, everything I do from now on, and as I said, I'm reforming. I put together this little presentation. It is not refined. I will go back and refine it as I go along this year, because I do think that, you'll see results, and I have seen people see results with this little mini training. So as I said, I'm not reformed yet. I'm still a work in progress. But what it does mean is now, when I have an idea, I say, how will the decision that I make relate back to my goal word? So really, day 2 in, not going so well. I'm like, hey, I'm going to put this little mini course out to the world. It's not perfect. When in actual fact, it is part of my refining. It is taking something that I already have, and this is stage 1 of refining, putting it out there to you to see, how it's going to help you, to see if you like it, to see if you want to know how to create a profitable year. And this is stage 1 of refining for me. So I'm not going to be too hard on myself. Maybe it's not perfect, but it is here for you to learn. If I can help you make $10 more, that is $10 that you didn't have. But we're going to get into, don't stress, we're going to get into how to make more money shortly. But having this overall word means that every time you want to go and spend money on advertising, is it actually going to get you closer to your goal word? Every time you want to go off and start a new project, is it actually going to get closer to that goal? Everything relates back to that word, and it will often stop you in your tracks because you'll think, hold on, no, this is just me getting distracted. This is just me keeping busy, doing the hustle because I feel like I need to keep moving in order to grow. So now that you have a word and you're going to share it with me, from today onwards, every single decision that you make is the decision that you're going to make right now going to get you one step closer to that goal. Now, the action plan, I've popped the link in the comments. I would love for you to download it and give your store a profit health check and set your goals for the year. So should we go through what is inside? Well, I don't think I actually have, no, I don't have another slide. So I'm going to go through it now and show you what you can, or tell you what you're going to find inside when it comes to cash flow. So many people, as I said, don't even have their numbers sorted, and that makes it really, really difficult for you to work through where your revenue goal is going to be. So when you download the action plan, let me just see if I can bring that up on the screen right now. I reckon I probably can. Just no, I can't. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's really important to start by reflecting, because we get so caught up in pushing and moving forward that we never actually stop and think about all the things that we've achieved. I know I am terrible about it. So in the action plan, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Things like, what did you celebrate in the last year? Did you actually celebrate anything? You know, the really obvious things. What goals did you achieve? But also, what did you learn? Because learning is so important. Even if something didn't quite get to where you wanted it to be, the act of learning is in itself meeting a goal. What was the biggest hurdle that you had in life? Now, for me, it was my health. And, you know, the hurdle was actually a physical thing because I was really struggling to put sentences together. I couldn't focus. I couldn't manage my team. It was just all going downhill. And I went to the doctors thinking that I may, you know, did I have some sort of early onset dementia or what was going on with me? And in actual fact, I actually thought, you know, the more realistic version would be something like I had a low thyroid. So I was quite shocked to hear that I was in stage 2 kidney failure. But the fact was, it's a wake-up call. It can all be managed. And I know that I need to refine my next year. So what was your biggest hurdle and how did you actually manage it? Because how you reacted to it is going to play a big part. You know, the way did I manage it? I threw myself into it. I went off to the naturopath. I went to source all this information to see what I could do to get myself in better shape. And number 6, you know, what did you do, or what did someone do for you that you weren't expecting? You know, what is it? Just what something should pop into your mind when I say that, and it just has to be something little. I gave a present to somebody I didn't know. Well, I'd only met him a couple of times. My dog and I have volunteered for the therapy dog program, and once a fortnight we go into an aged care facility and we just spend some time with the residents. And I met this lovely gentleman and he loved reading, and I just thought, I'm going to give him some books for Christmas. So what's something that you did, or something that someone did for you that you weren't expecting? But then we get to the feely things. I always like to know how people felt about the past year. How did you feel about cash flow in particular? Because we're talking about cash flow. But more importantly, how would you like to feel in the next year? That is really important, right? How do you want to actually feel? Have some reflecting on that. Spend some time with that. But if you're an action person, you're just like, Sal, just tell me what I have to do to make more money. Well, in the action plan, I'm going to ask you to go through your 4 quarters, the last 4 quarters of the 4 quarters of last year, and write down how much money you earned. And then I want to give yourself a projection for this year. I want you to break it up into quarters because quarterly forecasting takes in seasonal differences. And then what's your percentage increase? So how much more is it from this year to last year? If it's 500%, maybe it's not so realistic unless you've got a really healthy marketing budget. Maybe it is. But you need to think about whether you can actually achieve that based on your resources available. So going through the action plan will help you work out how much money you had, how much money you want to make, but also whether it's realistic. And then on the last page, I have some goals for you. So each month, I want you to give yourself a certain goal. For example, maybe it's something like, I just want to increase every sale by $10. And I've given you 6 strategies inside the workbook that show you how you can make more money. But maybe it's just, I want to make $10 more on every sale. Well, you can work that out. If you did 1,000 sales last month and you make an extra $10 for every one, that's an extra $10,000. I'd like that much money. Thank you very much. If you did 100 sales last month and you make an extra 10, that's another $1,000 that you could be making. So I want you to go through and map out how you're going to do that. And what that might look like is something along the lines of, one of my clients, Trista, did this. She knew that she sold lots of dresses. So she said, I'm going to upsell a pair of $10 earrings with every dress. And so the first action is define what it is you're going to do to get your $10. The second action would be meet with your staff and explain to them what the goal is. Set the goal for them as well. And then the third action is probably pick the product. You know, maybe there's a section of products that's in the $10 to $15 range and go, that's the product we're going to do. And implement it and see how it works. So on the last page, I want you to fill out your goals, the steps you're going to take to get there, and what that revenue increase is going to be. And then go back and see if that lines up with the percentage increase that you were hoping to have. Have a fantastic day. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. You can find all of the show notes over at selinaknight.com. If you found something that you heard today particularly useful, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And of course, feel free to share this episode with someone that you think could benefit by listening to it. Want more retail biz strategies? You can watch the Bringing Business to Retail TV show, where each week I'll answer a question or provide you with a simple, actionable retail biz strategy that you can implement in your business right away. If you have a question or a guest, I'd love to hear from you. Drop my team an email at podcast@selinaknight.com, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great week.